Yes, today we're learning about triangles if you couldn't figure that out. Triangles, are you ready? Here we go. Triangles, yes. I love to talk about triangles. Triangles always fascinated me as a child because when I thought about triangles, I thought about pyramids. And eventually you'll figure out that triangles have something to do with pyramids. So we're taking a look at triangles, and specifically we're taking a look at the area of triangles. And we need to know the formula. So the formula is this. It is a half times the base times the height. So that's your base, and that's your height. Now, there are some math teachers that also like to write it as this. Base times height divided by 2. They're the same. Same. And you're like, what? Why is that the same? Well, when you think about it, this is a half times base times height. So let me show you the math behind it just to kind of prove to you, because sometimes kids want to know why. So any number is over 1. And you've already learned that when you're multiplying, so we're multiplying this, remember there's invisible multiplying signs between those. So when you're multiplying like this, you're going across the top and across the bottom when you're multiplying. So 1 times, 1 times base times height is just base times height, there you go. And 2 times 1 times 1 is just going to be 2. So that, my dear math students, is why they're the same. So now that you have the formula, maybe you're feeling something a little bit differently, and you're like, well, I want to be able to express my feelings. So let's just talk about how you can do that with some drawings. Now, if you have any kind of little character drawing that maybe you're doodling right now in your math book, so here's a great little way to do it. So I'm just doing a basic mouth, and with this mouth, and I'm going to have a little bit cheeky, it's going to have the tongue, you can have different kinds of expressions, and it all depends on your eye. So in that kind of expression, what do you think that character is feeling? Maybe a little bit of excitement, perhaps? So if that's a little bit of excitement, you can go and change things just by simply going and changing the eyes. And the eyes are very powerful. If you gave it maybe some longer droopy eyes, maybe it's looking a little more playful, a little more happy, it's a little bit excited there. You know, so you can do that. What else can you do with the eyes? You could give a little bit of an edge, so maybe do something like this, and all of a sudden, your happy little character has just become a little bit edgy, and that sort of thing. And of course, there's always the classic, oh, maybe your character is just a little bit sleepy. A little bit sleepy, and there you go. Okay, so back to triangles. We now have the formula, half base times height. And that means we can go and calculate the area. So let's just say we had a triangle that looked like this. And let's go and add in some numbers. Now typically, you'll see a dotted line that's going to be helping establish what the height of the triangle is. So I'm going to say the height here is 20, and I'll say the base is going to be, that looks like a good 25. Something like that. And let's give it some units. I'll say meters. And you know my preference is that you always show a formula. So the area of a triangle is half base times height. And then you go and substitute with brackets the numbers. And then you do the math. If you do this, your math teacher will think you're the most amazing student ever. So half of 25 times 20. So like that. Let's go and do the math. Now here's a quick little thing for you. If you had to multiply a half times 25, that's kind of pretty hard to do. It's 12 and a half, but is a half of 20 going to be easier? I think so. So I'm actually going to go a half times the 20 first. So that's where I'm going to get the 10. So half of 20 is 10. I'm going to times that by the 25. So 10 times 25, and I'll get 250. And that is going to be meters squared. So realize that sometimes it's easier to take that half and multiply it by maybe the height before you multiply it by the base. And that's a good little top tip for all you math students out there. Let's see some more stuff. Let's see some more triangles. Say a triangle like this. And this is a right angle triangle because of a little right angle there. And then let's say your teacher goes and puts all these numbers on here. Let's say they say this is 12, this is 18, and this is, what would that be? There's actually an actual formula for this. Shh, I can't tell you yet. That's for a later video. Let's say it's 20. It might not be 20, but let's just say it's 20. And you're like, well, which one is the height? Well, another way to look at this triangle is what if I rotated it? So what if I went and did this? If I did this, so can you do this in your head? So here I went and did that. So where does everything go? This is 18, this is 12, oops, and this is 20. So what did I do? How did I rotate it? I just kind of took this edge and I just kind of dragged it up there. That's what I kind of did. Kind of picked this part up and I kind of pulled it all the way up. Either way, you're going to see that this is the base and this is the height. Even here, this is the base and this is the height. So remember that we're just multiplying, right? So the area of a triangle is simply base times height divided by 2. And you're multiplying the base and the height. And don't forget, 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So as long as you kind of get that right, you know, good things can happen here. So I'm going to go 18 times 12. I'm going to divide it by 2. And I'm going to do my 18 times 12. And then I'll talk about how to do that and make your life a little bit easier. So 216, and divide that by 2. If I cut that in half, I think I get 108. So it's 108, and I was lazy, I didn't give you any units, so I'm going to call it units squared. So you have that. Now, 18 times 12 is pretty hard, but watch a little trick you could have went and done. You could have just went and divided this one by 2 first. Just do 18 and divide that by 2. And that would give you 9. And then do 9 times 12. So you could have just went 9 times 12. That would have been kind of exciting to do. And to get to 108. So a little shortcut there if you want to kind of cut one of them in half. Cut one of those numbers in half. And there you go. More triangle stuff? Sure, I'll do one more. One more triangle. I'm going to make it a yellow triangle. So here's my triangle. Now this one is interesting, of course. And I'll say this is 13. And for the height, notice I'm going to have some dotted lines here. And I'll say the dotted lines is going to be 12. And I'll call these meters. So I'm giving you the height right here. So again, we have half base times height. So you'd get a half times the base. And for this one, the base is going to be 13. And your height is going to be 12. Let's use that little trick I just talked about. I'm going to go half of 12. So I'm going to get 13 times 6. That's much easier to do. And that is going to give you 78 meters squared. There's some triangle action for you. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks everybody. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about triangles. You guys can go and subscribe right down there, or maybe it's over there. I'm not too sure. Or go watch another video about the wonderful world of geometry. Until next time, have a great day.